You're probably wondering, how exactly could I share a board with my clients without having to pay for them to get access to the board and without them being able to see my entire Monday.com system? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, and I'm going to give you a use case and a setup demonstration that we're going to be using for our clients literally today, the day of filming this video. By the way, if you need any help automating, integrating, streamlining your business with Monday.com or anything else, check out the link below. We would love to help. Now, as you can see here, I'm inside of my Monday.com system. First thing I'm going to go ahead and do is create a new board. Very, very simple. So new board, and I'm going to call this the example issue log. Now, for context, I'm creating this board for a client where their system is actually going live today. And the issue log is going to enable the client to submit issues they're having with the system, which is always inevitable, unfortunately, as much as I'd love to build a perfect system. The issues get submitted on here. Now, they're going to have an internal approval process. So the point of contact for the client is going to look at the issues that have been submitted. If they're ridiculous issues, like super simple problems or ridiculous questions, then they're going to handle that internally, and then that doesn't actually get raised to us. Now, if they can't answer the question, that is then going to be raised to us, and then we're going to take responsibility for the issue, review it, and hopefully remove the issue, fix the issue as quickly as possible. Now, they obviously need access to the board that we're going to be creating, but this functionality could literally apply to anyone. So if you're in marketing and you want to share a marketing board with an external client for a particular project, you can do. Same principle applies. So you can see here, board name. I'm sure you're all used to this. Then we need to select our privacy option. Now in this particular instance, we need to select it as shareable. You may not have access to this. You do need the professional version of Monday.com in order to get access to the shareable option. And I mean, if you don't have the professional version of Monday.com, you might as well stop watching this video now. So I'm going to call this issues, just for the sake of the context of this video. And then I'm going to go ahead and press create board. So that's step one of the process. It does always take a little bit of time to load. So now you can see we've got this shareable board, and you've got this weird icon on the left hand side here. Now this will actually allow us to invite guests to our Monday.com system, but specifically this board and nowhere else. So if you go to invite in the top right hand corner now, you can see that we have this weird option that's typically not available on any other board type, being main and private, where we can invite guests to this particular board so they can review, edit information that you have on the board. They can't access any other area of your Monday.com system, but they can access this. So if I wanted to invite a guest to our Monday.com system, all I would do is type in their email. So let's say development@crmcrew.com, and I would go ahead and send that invite to their email address, and then they would have access to everything that we want to give them access to on this board. So obviously we can lock and hide the visibility of particular columns. So we might hide the visibility of columns for guests so they can't see certain information. But for the most part, they'll then have access to this board here. And now once you've hit invite, they obviously will receive an email to the email address that you've provided. They can then go ahead, log in, sign up, and then they'll have access to this board here. Now that is only actually if you need them to be able to make changes to the board. Now in the instance that I do need them to make changes to the board. However, if you only need them to be able to view information, there is an alternative solution which can be applied to literally any board. So you don't necessarily need to use the shareable board option. So key distinction, if you need them to view and edit, you need a shareable board, you need to invite them as guests. If you only need them to be able to view information and not necessarily edit information, then we can just use this functionality up the top by pressing plus new table. And then we can go ahead and we can change this, and we can press share. And then once you share it, you now can generate a link to this particular view. Press copy, and then we can literally just paste it here, as you can see. And this is the view that anyone would get. They don't need guest access. They don't need Monday.com login access. They don't need anything. You can just share this board. The problem is, as you can see, I can't make any changes at all. So there's nothing I can do here. You can only view this board. But this can be done on any board. So you don't necessarily need to use a shareable board type. If I go to quotes, just as an example, you can see here I've got this main table. I've got a pipeline view. Let's take the pipeline view just as an example. I'll hit share on it, press copy, and then I'm going to paste this in, and this will show me the pipeline view for literally the pipeline view for the quotes board. But again, I can't make any changes to this. I can't drag and drop, but I can only see the data that's applicable for me. So those are your two options when it comes to sharing. Either you share just the view, or you can share an entire board, give people guest access, and then they can make changes. One or the other. I'm just going to, what am I doing here? I'm just going to delete these. I'm just going to stop sharing for this. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and stop. Now, typically the issue log for this particular video, I would just use as a template. We've got a template stored, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to go ahead and create the issue log. So first and foremost, I need date created. Now, this is a standard column that I would always add. So I restrict the column editing on this. And then I'll go to automate board automations and go when item created, set date to today. This always means that I can reference when something was created. I might in this instance also actually add the time as well. So then I can see the date and time in which a new item was created. Just in case we get any questions from the client, for example, saying, hey, why has this not been done? Or, you know, I can then say, oh, it was only submitted about 40 minutes ago. But this can be applied to any board, and this functionality, for example, quotes, you know, when a new quote was created. And then what I will do is I'm going to do another date column, and it's going to be date completed. Again, this is just a pretty standard thing that I would do. So date completed. Now, obviously, when issues arise, they're going to be new, internally QC'd, externally QC'd, awaiting, blah, 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 blah. So let me just walk you through that. But date completed, there's always going to be an endpoint. So at some point, the issue is going to be completed, hopefully. So I'm going to create a new group called completed, completed issues or resolved. Let's call it resolved. That sounds a bit better. And then I'm going to change it to a slightly nicer green. And then I've got done, change this to resolved. There we go. And then new issues. So new is going to be my first column. I'm going to change this to new, as you can see here. So I've got new. I've then got awaiting internally. How would I do it? So like internally QC'd. Internally QC'd. And then I've got externally. And then what I'm essentially saying, new item comes in, they're going to go they're going to resolve it. So I actually don't think I need that. So let's think about the logic of the process here. So new item's going to come in, new issues. They're going to either resolve it themselves or raised awaiting CRM crew, raised to CRM crew. And then I'm going to do, so then, yeah, new issue comes in, that notifies the internal team. We don't need to get involved at that point. When the status gets changed to raised, then we're going to be required to review. So I'm going to do raised. Then I might add an issues log. In sprint, resolved, sprint. So I've got new issues, raised, new raised issues. Does that make sense? Active issues, and then resolved issues. That kind of makes sense, I think. Yeah. A new issue comes in from the client. They're going to review it internally. If they can just resolve the issue, perfect. They need to raise it to us. Once the status changes to raised, we'll then get notified. We'll then change the status to active when we're resolving the issue, so when it's in a sprint. And then once the issue is resolved, then we'll change the status to resolved. There we go. That makes perfect sense. What am I worrying about? So we've got new raised, we've got active, and then we've got resolved, and that's literally it. And then there are inevitably going to be problems in between there and then. I hate when that happens, you know. There we go. Edit. Just delete that one as well. So now I've got new, raised, active, resolved. So what else do I need? Person. I will leave. File. I will key. No, I don't want files coming in. I don't want files coming in. And then I'm going to add long text. Oh, what is going on with me this morning? Additional information. There we go. And then I'm going to have, so that's going to be the name. So what I will be doing is creating a form. I'm going to create a formula column. So that will give me context on the time to complete between date created and date completed. Probably won't want anyone external to be able to see the average time it takes for us to complete. So TTC is what I'll call it, time to complete. And then it's just days, open column, dates, date completed, comma, date created, close bracket. The brackets always get deleted for some reason when you're using formulas. Then just go ahead and set formula. I'm going to hide the column summary and restrict column editing. There we go, restrict column editing. So now I've got date created, date completed, time to complete, additional information. I probably want to capture requester details or log details. Actually, before I do anything else, let's just do the status stuff. So when the status changes to new, move item to group, new, create automation, add. When the status changes to raised, move item to group, raised, create automation. When the status changes to active, move item to group, active. And then when status changes to resolved, when status changes to resolved, move item to group, resolved, create automation. Actually, within that, I want to also set the date completed to today. So then that will give me my date tracking. So date completed, update column summary. There we are. Update column summary, update automation. There we go. So additional information, person status, additional information, request a name, and then request your email as well, just so I know who's put in the problem or the complaint. Request your email. There we go. So I'll be aware of who's raised the issues. Now on these, obviously these are restricted column editing. I've got request name, request your email. I think that's about all I need, to be honest with you. What I will do is, I think that's about everything. So now what I can go ahead and do is, actually what I'll do, is I'm going to remove this restriction, and then I'm going to restrict column view, because I don't want anyone to be able to see this stuff. Remove restriction. I'm trying to think what else we have in our standard template. I mean, not much. Yeah, again, like stuff like this, you just want to keep as simple as possible. Like it really doesn't need to be complicated. So it's issue name, additional information, request an email, request a name. That's literally it. Person, when item created, automatically assign people. So now let's just go ahead and create the form for this, for our issue log. So I'm going to edit the form. Issue log form. Please give context. Please provide name of issue. Don't need status. That can go. I can restrict the form, so don't need that. Additional information I will need. Obviously, I'm going to need for the name. Request a name I'm going to need. Request an email I'm going to need. I'm not going to need date created, hide question. I'm not going to need date completed, hide question. So now if I go here, there's nothing on there I need to worry about. Use welcome screen, no. Submission view, hide branding, save draft submission, no. Form restrictions, new. Don't need any of that. Thank you screen. Show resubmit button. Can keep the nice looking image, and then include name and question, sync question, column titles. No, don't want to do that. Press publish, preview. That's now my form name. Well, this has happened a lot recently. A lot is I've selected things. So hide question on here, then hide question on here, and then I've gone to use the form, and yeah, very frustrating. It just changes itself automatically, as you can clearly see. Monday.com is issue title. Please provide additional information relating to this issue. There we go. And then request a name. What is your name? Question mark. What is your email? Is your email? Question mark. There we go. And that's about it. What's your name? Issue title. So now publish preview. So let's see if it glitches out again. Issue title. Please provide additional information. What is your name? What is your email? That's it. That's all I need. That's all I need. Happy days. So now that comes in, and what's going to happen is I'm just going to quickly go ahead and invite the people that I want to invite. So now I have just invited the people that I need to have access to this board, so they can come in and they'll be able to see, oh, a new item has been added, and they'll be notified about it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do when item created, set date to today. So now what I'm going to do is add new automation. When item is created, then I'm going to assign person, and the person is going to be that one and that one and that one. So now what's going to happen is when a new item is created, and then when they change the status to resolved, that's absolutely fine. If the issue is raised to CRM crew, it's going to then going to notify me. So then what I'll do is status changes to raised, and I want to identify myself. So I want to assign. So actually I want to clear assign. I want to clear assignees for the person column, and then I want to assign myself. Assign person, in this case, is now going to be me. So hopefully you followed along in this very complicated video, but whether we actually use this, I've got no idea. But essentially, you know how to share information. And now this is our issue log. So we're going to distribute this to the client. They submit issues via the form. That will then populate into our Monday.com system. When it's first created, it's going to notify the 3 points of contact we have with the actual client itself. When they then change the status to raised issues to CRM crew, it's then going to remove their allocation on person, and it's going to automatically assign me. We'll then handle the issue. And then once it's resolved, it's going to notify, what I'll probably do is set that to notify everyone. So when status changes to resolved, then notify, how can I do everyone? Subscribers, board subscribers, notify is now resolved. There we go. Done. Create automation. Very simple. So that's the issue log in a nutshell. I appreciate it's taking quite a lot of time to demonstrate to you how it all works and everything else. And I've had a bit of a slow morning, so apologies if this video is a little bit hard to follow. But the principle applies. This board is now shared with the client. They have access to it. They can submit issues to it via the form. So the whole company can submit issues via the form. That filters in, notifies points of contact. Once they raise it to us, if they don't resolve it themselves, then we then become assigned to the issue, and we can see the information, resolve the issue for them, and then the job is done. By the way, if you need any help automating, integrating, streamlining your business, check out the link below. We would love to help. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.